Showcasing sharper, edgier styling is the Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport, a swanky new name for the replacement of the company's large hatchback range. This time around will be no traditional four-door saloon, but this chiseled new look will also appear later in 2017 on the replacement for the Vauxhall Insignia Sports Tourer estate, as well as the new Insignia Country Tourer, complete with the raised ride height and SUV-inspired styling. As before, the latest Insignia will compete head-on with its longtime foe the Ford Mondeo, as well as the Skoda Superb, Mazda 6 and Volkswagen Passat, even though the latter two aren't available in hatchback form. All new from the ground up, Vauxhall claims the revised architecture liberates more cabin space for passengers, and this is felt most obviously in the rear. However, the company's own statistics confirm that boot space has shrunk slightly as a result, down 40 litres to a 490-litre capacity. However, it's better shaped than the old car. The interior feels airy, despite the fact that those small side windows aft of the rear doors are in fact dummy panels masking rather thick pillars. The Insignia Grand Sport's nose is dominated by a new interpretation of the Vauxhall grille, while high-end models feature the brand's LED matrix headlamps, featuring 32 lighting elements compared with the Astra's 16. Not only are they brighter, but they are even more precise in the way they shut down sections of light to avoid dazzling oncoming drivers. Despite the bodywork creases and chamfered corners, it cleaves the air with impressive ease. Vauxhall quotes a drag coefficient of 0.26, the same as the 1989 Calibra, which should yield fuel efficiency and low CO2 emissions benefits. The new car is also up to 175 kilograms lighter, model on model, than the outgoing Insignia. Engine lineup largely carried over. There are 6 engines in total, including 3 petrol and 3 diesels. All of them are turbocharged, and only the 1.5-litre petrol is a new unit, the rest are carried over from the previous Insignia. This means mechanicals of this car are largely tried and tested, and revisions mean that economy and CO2 emissions are improved over the old Insignia too. Vauxhall reckons the 1.5-litre petrol and 1.6-litre diesels will sell the best, and there are 2 power outputs for each unit to help tailor your Insignia to your exact needs. Enhanced onboard technology. Unsurprisingly, the latest Insignia features a raft of electronic aids to make the driving experience safer. Expect adaptive cruise control, lane departure assist, rear cross-traffic alert and a head-up display, HUD, to be optionally available where they're not standard features. Angled towards the driver, the Astra-esque dashboard is dominated by a large multimedia touchscreen in an attempt to reduce the button count, although the steering wheel is still likely to be laden with switchgear. Smartphone integration is made easy with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is standard on all models, while the TechFest continues with Vauxhall's Onstar virtual concierge service and an onboard Wi-Fi hotspot for up to 7 devices, likely to be standard across the bulk of the range. High-performance Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sports announced in July 2017. The XI badge returns to Vauxhall's bootlids in 2017, set to be officially unveiled at the Frankfurt Motor Show in September on the Insignia Grand Sport. And this is far more than simply a bodykit. It's a dedicated performance module, with a 260 horsepower turbocharged petrol engine, an 8-speed automatic gearbox and all-wheel drive. Vauxhall's FlexRide adaptive suspension features, along with some large Brembo brakes for serious stopping power and full leather sports seats to keep you planted. We're promised performance that'll eclipse the previous Insignia VXR thanks to a 160 kilograms weight reduction compared to the normal Grand Sport. Its handling has been honed on the famous Nürburgring test track in Germany. The verdict: a good, solid verdict for a good solid car. The Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport is decent to drive, excellent on long journeys, is well made, and has a nice, usable interior that feels like it will withstand years of hard use without any troubles. So, why doesn't it score better? The Insignia Grand Sport is a typical modern Vauxhall. It's very good at what it does, but lacking in that last bit of desirability, sexiness, that you'll find in non-premium rivals, such as the Volkswagen Passat and Skoda Superb. We could happily recommend it as your one and only car purchase, but suggest that some of its rivals would leave you feeling better in the long run. Read on for the full Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport review to find out if this hatchback deserves your attention. Power ranges from 110 horsepower to 260 horsepower. New 1.5-litre petrol, plus carried over diesel. 6 turbocharged choices in total. There are 6 engines to choose from, 3 petrol and 3 diesels, all of which are turbocharged. Only the 1.5-litre petrol is a new unit, the rest are carried over from the previous Insignia. Petrol engines. First up is the 1.5-litre turbo, expected to be one of the big sellers in the Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport lineup, with two different power outputs, 140 horsepower and 165 horsepower. Top of the petrol range is a 2.0-litre, 260 horsepower unit with a muscular 400 Nm of torque, which comes exclusively with an 8-speed automatic transmission and torque vectoring all-wheel drive system, which we'll explain further in the handling section. Diesel engines expected to account for the majority of sales. Here is the 1.6-litre Turbo D with either 110 horsepower or 136 horsepower. While the 110 horsepower unit offers the best fuel economy and CO2 emissions, it doesn't look particularly inspiring in terms of performance. We've driven the top-of-the-line diesel, a 2.0-litre unit with 170 horsepower carried over from the last car, and were impressed by its punchy mid-range performance. There's a bit of a delay at low revs and little value in stretching it beyond 4,500 revolutions per minute, so you need to work the gearbox to keep the engine in this fairly narrow operating range. Matched to a 6-speed manual, we found all of third gear was needed to accelerate quickly to motorway speed. Still, it accelerates smoothly and is nice and quiet on a cruise. Gearboxes. There's a choice here between a 6-speed manual and an 8-speed automatic. The former is standard with most engines and the latter is an option on all but the 260 horsepower petrol, where it is standard. We've not driven the Autobox but found the manual to be easy to use, with the light and springy action that slots positively into each gear. Adequate rather than inspiring handling, lots of grip and planted, safe feel, torque vectoring and flex ride options. This is one area where the old Insignia fell behind its rivals slightly, and the new car has caught up, but doesn't exactly move the game on. And despite the fact the Mazda 6 and Ford Mondeo are still better to drive, the Insignia Grand Sport's handling is more than up to the job, it's just not particularly entertaining. The steering is quite light and doesn't offer much in the way of feedback, but the car feels planted on the whole and there's plenty of grip from the front and rear wheels. Bearing in mind the size of the car and the quality of the ride, body control is impressive. You can induce quite a bit of lean in a fast corner, but it doesn't lurch around or dive badly under braking. Torque vectoring, all-wheel drive and flex ride. Pick a car with all-wheel drive and torque vectoring and Vauxhall reckons the Insignia will handle even more precisely. That's because it can send power to the wheel that needs it most, reacting quickly to changing surfaces and conditions. We've yet to sample this system, or the adjustable flex ride suspension, the latter offering a more comfortable or sporty ride depending on what sort of driving you're doing. Much cleaner and decluttered look to the dashboard. Some important functions retain a physical button, lots of driving position adjustment, even for tall drivers. The dashboard in the Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport has undergone a comprehensive decluttering this time around, although there are still proper switches for important things like the air conditioning and stereo. This car retains its button-fest steering wheel, which on the one hand is quite useful but on the other is a bit of a headache to navigate at first. While on the whole the interior is much better than before, in terms of material quality it still doesn't quite feel as good as its premium rivals, or the more mainstream Volkswagen Passat and Skoda Superb, both of which are nicer to look at and use. That said, the Insignia's cabin looks a lot more upmarket now, especially if you opt for the larger digital display behind the wheel. The rev counter and fuel gauge are physical instruments, but the speedometer is a customizable graphic version with a large numerical display. It's also easy to get into a comfortable driving position thanks to the highly adjustable seat and steering wheel. Despite the width of the cabin, the armrests are appreciably close to the driver. Longer wheelbase improves ride comfort. Even 20-inch wheels offer a good ride. Noise levels in the car markedly improved thanks to a longer wheelbase than the previous car. The Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport boasts better ride comfort than before, even on the large 20-inch wheels of our test car. We reckon the 18-inch option will be seriously smooth, and also a bit quieter on the move. The front seats are large and corsetting and can be set really low down, great for tall drivers, and also improving rear passenger vision, making the cabin feel large and airy wherever you're sat. Heating is available for not just the front seats but also the two rears, plus the steering wheel can be warmed to help combat cold hands in the winter. Engine noise from the 2.0-litre diesel at least is admirably hushed, although it gets a touch vocal at the top of the rev range. There's a bit of wind rustle on the motorway, but on the whole the Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport is a quiet and relaxing place to spend a long journey. Basic, sporty and luxury trims available, decent standard spec and generous top-tier helpful driving assistance optional extras to the Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport's trim levels will be familiar to owners of the previous generation or other cars from this manufacturer. There are 7 in total, including a couple of optional sat-nav grades. Standard Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport equipment. Kicking things off is the design trim, which comes with 17-inch alloy look wheels, automatic lights, electric windows front and rear, keyless entry and start plus electrically adjustable and heated door mirrors. Gadgets-wise, you get air conditioning, cruise control with speed limiter, and the IntelliLink 7.0-inch touchscreen audio system, DAB digital radio, Bluetooth connectivity, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Next up is Design Nav, which, as you may have guessed, simply adds the 8.0-inch Navi 900 IntelliLink sat-nav system with European mapping. There are 3 sporty trims next. The first is called Sri and adds the following to the basic spec: 17-inch alloy wheels, front fog lights, dark-tinted rear windows, rear spoiler and rain-sensitive windscreen wipers. If you want a more performance-focused look, pick Sri Nav, which adds the sat-nav system mentioned earlier, front sports seats and pedals, dual-zone electronic climate control, ambient LED lighting, twin rear USB sockets and an auto-dimming rear-view mirror. Finally, there's Sri VX Line Nav, which adds larger alloy wheels, 17s on the 1.6-litre diesel and 18s for everything else, and the full-fat VXR styling pack, front and rear bumpers, side sills, visible exhaust tailpipe. Inside there's a heated flat-bottom steering wheel, dark fabric headlining and a larger 4.2-inch color information display between the dials. Next, there are 2 more luxury-focused trims based on design cars, and the first is called Techline Nav, which has historically proved popular with company car drivers. It adds 17-inch alloy wheels and chrome effect door handles to the outside, plus twin rear USB sockets, an auto-dimming rear-view mirror, and 4.2-inch color information display to the inside. You also get driver's seat tilt and lumbar adjustment and front passenger seat height adjustment, and handy tech including the 8-inch sat-nav, dual-zone electronic climate control, rain-sensitive windscreen wipers and front and rear parking sensors. Top of the tree is Elite Nav, which builds on Techline by adding larger alloy wheels, 17s on the 1.6-litre diesel, 20s on the 2.0-litre petrol and 18s for everything else, LED matrix headlights, front fog lights and dark-tinted rear windows to the outside. Inside the car you get leather seat facings, heated front and outer rear seats plus an 8.0-inch color information display. 2.0-litre petrol models also get a Bose premium sound system. Pick a 4x4 car and you'll also get torque vectoring, which we've explained in the handling section. XI Performance variant announced in late 2017, the XI is currently the sportiest variant of the Insignia Grand Sport range. Additional equipment over the standard model includes a high-tech 4-wheel drive system, switchable drive modes, with FlexRide adaptive suspension, Brembo performance brakes and 18-inch alloy wheels. The sporty addenda continues on the inside with a flat-bottomed leather steering wheel, aluminium pedals and black headlining. Onstar standard on all Insignias is Vauxhall's Onstar concierge service. Connected to the internet via the car's antenna, this system can be used to contact the emergency services in the result of a crash, or to ask an Onstar representative to send directions to a destination to your sat nav. It also provides a Wi-Fi hotspot for up to 7 devices. Debuting in the Insignia are 2 new functions called Onstar Personal Assistant. The system can now recommend and book a hotel for you, and also send directions to a parking space to the sat nav. Optional Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport accessories. There are individually and bundled packs of optional extras for the Insignia, kicking off with the FlexRide adaptive suspension system, which offers a more comfortable or sporty ride, and a driving assistance pack with adaptive cruise control. Helping you keep your eyes on the road is a head-up display system, and a Bose premium stereo can also be specified. IntelliLux LED matrix headlights are impressive but pricey at the time of launch. 5-star rating in Euro NCAP crash test. Front camera means emergency braking and lane assist. Onstar system can contact the emergency services as standard. The Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport offers a good collection of safety equipment, including electronic stability program, ABS brakes, 6 airbags, ISOFIX mounting points on all 3 rear seats and a tire pressure monitoring system. Boosting this offering is the Onstar system, which can contact the emergency services for you automatically after a crash, and a front camera system that adds lane keep assist, following distance indicator, forward collision alert, low-speed collision mitigation braking and active emergency braking. Optional upgrades include the IntelliLux LED headlight system, which should make it easier to see and be seen, a head-up display, and adaptive cruise control with active lane keep assist. You can also pick rear cross traffic alert and advanced parking system to make reversing maneuvers easier and safer. When the Insignia Grand Sport was crash tested by the experts at Euro NCAP in 2017, it achieved a full 5-star rating, with both the pedestrian protecting pop-up bonnet and the automatic emergency braking system being highlighted as particularly effective. There's loads of room wherever you sit in the Vauxhall Insignia Grand Sport, and the cabin feels particularly capacious in the front. Those in the back are well catered for in terms of legroom. Even behind a tall driver there is plenty of space to stretch out into. This car also has more headroom than its predecessor, but those of above average height will still find their hair brushing the headliner. The rear seats feel like they are set high up in comparison with the cat's eye scraping front chairs, so you get a really good view out when sat in the back. There are decent side pockets all around, plus 3 cubbies in the center console and a pair of cup holders in the front and back. The Insignia Grand Sport is a large car, and the trim structure unfortunately means lower spec cars don't even have rear parking sensors, so factor that into your buying decision. Vauxhall currently doesn't offer an automatic parking system for the Insignia. Open the boot, a task made harder by the lack of a physical handle on the outside of the tailgate, and you'll reveal a large and practical boot. It's wide and long with a square shape that can fit up to 490 liters of luggage inside. Insignia fans will note those dimensions are 40 liters down on the last car, and certainly the new Grand Sport's boot looks relatively shallow. Fold the rear seats flat and you'll unlock 1,450 liters, though. There's a flex organizer pack offering side rails, dividing nets and fastening solutions to help keep all the items in the boot tied down neatly.